Hello everyone, very good evening to all the viewers of The Legal Game. This is Kushagra Goyal on December 3's newspaper analysis. Now, this week we will be ending the newspaper analysis in the sense of it is also a conclusion of the working days of the Indian Parliament. Right? Now, on the weekend, we will be doing much more interactive classes in the sense of diving deep into those topics that we have dealt with. Right? We will be using the weekend time to go deeper into the topics that we have seen in the newspaper analysis and then cover them, revise them, prepare them in questionnaire format. So let's dive straight into the newspaper analysis for the day. We will also be talking about news that have been in the relevance for us on the first day. So in terms of Omicron variant, once again, as of now, what becomes more important for us is the genealogy of it. Okay, this is the key part of all that we have to know about Omicron. Right now, the only risk with Omicron, or why is it important for us from CLAT perspective, is that it has a higher chance of reinfection or breakthrough infections in terms of how the disease is spreading. Okay, does it have higher transmissibility? Probably. Is it more severe than Delta variant? Probably no. Those are the details that we have as of now. There has also been a case of an Indian person infected with the Omicron variant of coronavirus. However, there is the catch is that this is a locally transmissible case, that he has no travel history anywhere. So therefore, it could be the case that the variant is also active in the world and in India primarily. Okay, so that is the key part. See, all these discussion, travel bans, कौन सी country से available है travel, कहाँ नहीं है, वो सब हमारे लिए relevant नहीं है. ठीक है, those are the things that are not relevant for us. We can skip them. Okay, then the next thing that we have on the front page is the news here, the small news here, where Bihar has now agreed to conduct its own caste census. So the central government stated that they will not conduct a country-wide caste census. They stated state governments are free to conduct their own. They will not conduct. The central government will only conduct the data of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. It will not collect data of OBCs or other backward castes. So now there was larger consensus among all the parties except for the Bharatiya Janata Party in Bihar that the census should be conducted. So now the state is moving in active regard for that. We have already discussed what is a caste census. Caste census is that when you are asked about your data, you also enumerate the caste with which you associate. Does it mean that the state promotes casteism? No. Collection of data does not mean the state promotes it. We talked about that the state collects crime data, the state collects other financial data. Does it mean that state promotes those evils? No. But why is caste census important for us? Because if you want to give affirmative action and you want to extend reservation within reservation, you have to have evidence to support your claim, which is at present not there with other parties or bodies, and that is what they need to have. State governments need to have specific caste wise data to support their claims. All right, then we move on. Apart from this, on the front page, nothing of real note for us. All of this is political news of no relevance for us from a national exam perspective. Then we move on to the other side. Here, this article is talking about a graded response action plan. This was the one that was supposed to deal with pollution in the national capital region. However, no progress in terms of this or the success of it has happened. Okay, so nothing of note for us here. Then we move on to the editorial section. The editorial section is the one that is key for us. The first one is talks about cooperatives and it talks about the success of Amul. Okay, in terms of this, the idea that the editorial is talking about is a bottom-up approach. okay, or avoiding one entity control. What is all this about? Or why is it all this relevant for us? It is relevant because it deals with the 100th anniversary of Amul. The 100th anniversary of the brainchild behind Amul, that is Verghese Kurian. We celebrated the 100th birth anniversary of Verghese Kurian on November 26th this year. Now, what is Amul? Amul is a cooperative. What is a cooperative? Cooperatives are those that are not owned by either the state or owned by private investors. They belong to everyone, in the sense that Amul is a collective of different organizations. It is not one. So for example, for milk production, Amul relies on collection of milk of different milk producers. It does not create its own farm. It does not create its own or keeps an asset of cows of its own, or buffaloes or goat, none of it, okay? First fact. Second, it is based on a segregated collection system. That is, the more and more people provide Amul with the productive goods, Amul just processes them and supplies them. So what it is, it's an aggregated system. The more people join in, the larger the cooperative, and the benefit then accrues to everyone. Okay, so what happens is, this editorial talks about a critique of one key aspect. It is the criticism of collective farming that existed in Soviet Union, and a similar kind of capital farming in terms of United States. What that led to in USSR, it led to a drastic fall in production, and at the same time in USA it led to elimination of marginal farmers. However, the editorial links that the success of Amul and the idea of Amul comes in terms of the success of it lies in the creation of the idea, which was a brainchild of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. In that regard, okay, Verghese Kurian in his own autobiography has talked about how Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was the one who took him up and asked him to implement this, that the idea of a cooperative as a larger organization for production was all the brainchild of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, we always associate Vallabhbhai Patel with just the integration of India. However, in his book, that is I Too Had a Dream, Verghese Kurian talks about Vallabhbhai Patel and Thrimbu Vabhani Kishibhai Patel's contribution in terms of development. Now, why is this important? This is important because Amul led to India becoming the largest producer of milk in the world. Okay? In this regard, now what is the risk that we are, or the trouble that we are facing? Amul led to success of India becoming the largest milk producer. The platform of Amul has been implemented in other states also to create successful milk producing cooperatives. Now, the other sector of agriculture, that is the core agriculture, that has been suffering from lower productivity yield. If, for example, 1 year ago, a land of 1 hectare produced 100 tons of wheat, now this year that same land is probably yielding 1 less, and there has been a fall in productivity of yield. While our population increases, the demand for food grains is increasing, but the productivity of land is falling down. So this article links that what can be repeated in the agriculture sector to actually replicate the success of white revolution, okay, or Amul. But for us, two things important: birth anniversary of Verghese Kurian, 26th November, then his autobiography I Too Had a Dream, and he links the success of Amul and his progress to Vallabhbhai Patel himself. Okay. Then we move on the left hand side. Limited gains. What is this about? This is about increased vaccination, COVID appropriate behavior can cut the Omicron risk. The first thing it talks about is that, see, the reason why COVID-19 spread to all the countries at such an alarming pace was China did not report the virus at first. But South Africa and Botswana did report the variant of COVID-19 very fast. Okay. However, instead of actually increasing their own border reporting, different states have just banned South African people from traveling. This is counterproductive. What this does is it creates fear in the mind of other countries to actually report further cases at a faster pace. This will deter them to report cases. This is the risk that this editorial is talking about. That instead of shying away, the threat of a new variant coming in or a new variant looming large should tell us that, see, we need to increase our vaccination rate, we need to immunize people far more. The more they are immune, the better their chances of actually defense against the virus. So that is what happens in this regard. Then on the left hand side, birth and rights. Iske upar I have taken a session already in a separate segment. This is the one related to a new bill that the government has brought in. What is this new bill? This new bill is related to assisted reproductive technology regulation bill. इस बिल में क्या बात करी गई है? This is the bill related to all those alternative reproductive measures that we have in the country. IVF, then surrogacy, donation, artificial insemination. So all those techniques, what should be done with it? Okay, so this bill provides for a registration body for all such clinics so that people are not duped into fake surgeries, fake procedures, fake doctors and quacks. Second, this bill talks about a national body and a state level board to regulate the conduct of such clinics. It talks about where you can report such activities and then the license of such clinics can be turned down. The third thing is, this one talks about the rights of all those who are included. However, the editorial calls out that, see, this bill excludes two kinds of people, single men and LGBTQ community, that is same-sex marriages and single men. There could be men in future who may not want to marry with anyone but would want to become a father. ART techniques allows them to possess that. However, the bill prevents a person who is not married or a single father to actually have another child through ART techniques. The same is applicable for same-sex couples. In that regard, men and men or women and women cannot adopt a child or get a child through ART techniques. The author calls that, see, now that we are progressing and science is making it possible to reduce dependency on a one type of monogamous relationship, then there is the scope of the regulation of law should also be widened. In this regard, I have conducted a special class on Unacademy law to talk about week 1 of Indian Parliament. The link to this will be provided in the comment section. I will comment the link to the class. All of you can watch this video and have a detailed understanding of the law. It's not possible to detail out everything. I have given you a crux in the newspaper analysis. In the comment section of this video, I will comment the link to the video which you can refer to have a detailed understanding of this law. It's very important from your legal GK point of view. इस वजह से don't skip it. ठीक है? Then we move on the right hand side. Breathing fresh air into NCR's pollution control. This is about how we can learn from Chinese strategy to reduce pollution in NCR. Two things have been key in success of China to reduce pollution. First, emphasis on public transport. 60% of the Chinese in their cities, 67% in Beijing, travel through public transport, which is 8 times more than that or what happens in New Delhi. Okay. Similarly, The other success is that Beijing is planning ahead in terms of overall planning. It is moving towards cleaner technologies. It is moving towards a push for reduction in private consumption. It is having regular monitoring mechanisms. All of that leads to success in reduction of pollution. And that is what this editorial calls into. For us, all of it is a generic, it's policy based articles, so not that relevant. Then the parlay or Q&A section. Should the state stop focus on population control? This is in relation to contraceptives versus forced family planning. Forced family planning क्या होती है? जैसे आप 2 ही बच्चे कर सकते हो या 3 बच्चे कर सकते हो, या फिर आपको वोट नहीं देने देंगे अगर आपने 2 बच्चे कर लिए या आपने 3 बच्चे कर लिए. ओके, बट positive family planning or population control is when we introduce people to the benefit of family planning. We tell them why family planning is good, and you tell them active steps to contraceptives, in the sense condoms, female sterilization, male sterilization, and other techniques that you can do to naturally avoid a scenario of abortion or an unwanted pregnancy scenario. This is important. Why is this discussion happening now? Is because there is always this thing that India has too much population for its resources. No, India also has a lot of inefficient utilization of its resources. The labor force of India is not that efficient for it to tap into its largest working force on the earth. So in this regard, the second fact is that now our TFR or total fertility ratio at majority states except 3 in India has fallen below 2% or 2. TFR falling below 2 is that population in those states will never reach more than what it is right now. More adults will not be born than the ones that are existing right now. At max, if there is, for example, the population of Kerala is 1 crore, in future also it will probably go down to 50 lakhs naturally over a 50-year time period. Because overall there is no increase in population happening. We are either going to retain 1:1, but we are not going from 1 to 2. There are only 3 states that are actually with increasing. UP, Bihar, they are the only 2 states that actually are increasing the population of India. 3 to 4 is what their TFR is. UP and Bihar in general. A couple in UP or Bihar is actually giving birth to 3 to 4 children on average. That's the average in UP and Bihar. Those are the 2 laggard states. Rajasthan also has a positive TFR, that is 2.8. Okay, ideally a TFR should be 2 only. Okay, replacement level if you believe that your population is too high. Okay, forced population control measures lead to a underdevelopment of the country, which could happen, for example, in Eastern European countries. They have not reached their maximum development potential, but now they have lower population level than what they had in their peak, but they are remaining poor. So this discussion is about how you can prevent this from happening through positive family planning measures. Okay, then we move on back to the Kamraj plan. This is YSRCP, population in general, nothing of note for us. Then we move on the other national news. The Supreme Court has given under trials under UPA can't be held indefinitely. Timely trials part of human rights. Why is this important? Under section 43 of the UAPA, if a case is filed against you, you can be denied bail in entirety. However, the fact that states have abused this law to just put people in jail, this has raised the Supreme Court to raise the bar of the law. That, for example, for Sudha Bhardwaj, the case was filed against her for 3 years ago. She has been in jail, no trial, no evidence, no charge sheet filed. Ideally, a charge sheet has to be maximum filed in 90 days के अंदर charge sheet file करनी होती है. ठीक है, सुधा भारद्वाज के केस में 3 साल हो चुके, 3 into 365. Okay, that many days have passed since she was arrested, but no charge sheet has been filed. Okay, which shows that the intention of the state is not actually to punish the guilty, but to make process the punishment. The protection that Supreme Court is calling here is to ensure that process does not become punishment. Okay, this is what it is talking about, that process should not become the punishment. Okay, then we move on. More and more political posturing. All right, on the left hand side is the news. Bihar to hold caste census. This is Tejasvi Yadav. Agreement between the state government in general. Okay, then judicial. We keep talking about how cases are pending in the judiciary. However, yesterday in reply to a statement, 164 names for judgeship under. So it is with the union government. 164 names of various high court judges are at various stage of government consideration. So while we have high pendency of cases and there is high vacancy in courts, in high court, but it is the union government. Famously, just CJI Justice Thakur had cried at a conference when the Prime Minister and the President were sitting in front of them that please don't punish us for your laziness. That it is the Parliament, it is the executive that is delaying judicial appointments and not the judiciary. 6 years have passed since CJI Thakur retired from his post as Chief Justice of India. However, the state of appointing judges by the union government has reduced even further since 2014. 2014 to 2021, under the Prime Ministership of Prime Minister Modi, the rate of appointment has slowed even further. There are total number of 402 vacancies at high courts and 162 cases pending. Each day when a judge is not present in the seat, there are at least 60 litigants that will have to wait 3 months more to get their case heard. For every judicial vacancy that exists, 3 months is the time for each person of their lives. Okay, this is why it is important for us to ensure that judges are appointed at a faster pace. Then we move on on more national news, nothing of note. Okay, this news can be part of ALET examination. However, I don't think this could be the case. Okay, which will be the 4 airports to have facial recognition software in India? Varanasi, Pune, Kolkata and Vijayawada. Okay, 4 states will have, 4 airports will have facial recognition for baggage check-in and boarding passes. So you will not have to carry your documents. You can just do your facial recognition and walk into the airport. Okay, this technology is part of Digi Yatra policy of the government. Okay, 4 airports, Kolkata, Varanasi, Pune and Vijayawada will be those airports. Okay, then move on to the international news. So कल हमने यूक्रेन और रशिया के बीच की कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की बात करी थी. All right, we had talked about in the editorial the other angle. What is this angle now? To stop NATO expansion. Russia has been increasing its troops on the borders of Ukraine to stop Ukraine from joining the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is a military alliance of United States backed by United States. If NATO or Ukraine becomes a part of NATO, then Ukraine will get protection from US troops. US nuclear missiles can then be stationed in Ukraine, which would keep Russia under check. So this is why the deal has been, or there has been a demand by Russian foreign minister to stop a eastward expansion of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. In this regard, I have done a detailed special class on military alliance, that is NATO. Okay, and now that I am on this news, I also want to inform all of you that tomorrow at 7 p.m. I am hosting a quiz on the Learners app of Unacademy for GK quiz on polity, political, constitution, and other legal GK topics will be covered in this quiz. This will happen at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So make sure that you attend this quiz, enroll yourself for this special class. Use my code KUSSGK to enroll for this class for free. Okay, this class is freely available. All you need is to be present at 7 p.m. on the Learners app. Use my code KUSSGK. Okay, the link to the special class on NATO Alliance I will provide in the Telegram group today. Okay. Now on the right hand side is the news. Women's Tennis Association has suspended all events in China because no action has been taken on sexual harassment allegations of Peng Shuai. Peng Shuai is a former world #1 from doubles. If there is a systematic sexual harassment happening in a country, that means all the tennis athletes in China are not actually safe. Therefore, the Women Tennis Association has now taken action that until and unless active steps are taken, the events related to it will remain suspended. All tennis activity in China from international fora will remain suspended. This will force the Chinese to actually take note. Okay, Zhao, who has been alleged to have conducted the sexual harassment on Peng Shuai, is the second in line in China. He's also the one who is heading the conduction of the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022. So this is a developing story. We need to wait for what happens. Okay. उसके बाद no consensus on over envoys for Afghanistan, Myanmar. Who will be represented here? Which faction of the government will be part? So will it be the democratic government? Will it be the Taliban and the military government? Those consensus has not yet been reached. Okay. Then we move on. On the economic side, nothing of note for us. And then on the sporting side, Anju Bobby George has been awarded former athletics participant and 4th in Olympics. She has been awarded with the Women of the Year, Athlete of the Year award. Okay. And she has equated it to winning similar to winning a FIFA award or a Grammy of acting. Okay. So in that regard, her award from the World Athletics as Women of the Year award. Okay. For her contribution to athletics, training athletes through and through at different features of the athletic program under Olympics. In that regard, her contribution has been recognized. Okay, she had stood 4th in Olympics, just shy of winning the Olympic medal herself. Okay. Then, so this is also the news on both sides. This is the same news. Indian long jump star Anju Bobby George as Women of the Year award by World Athletics. Okay, Anju is second recipient after Ethiopia's double Olympic champion in 2019. Okay, she runs an academy in Bangalore which is known as Anju Bobby Center for Excellence in Bangalore. Okay, that is the athletics training academy that she runs. Then we move on the text and context. Tensions rise over Russia's border build-up. This is part of the story of what is there on the world news. To prevent Ukraine from becoming a member of the NATO organization. This is also part of Russia and US have the largest stockpile of nuclear weapons. So if they are this close to each other on the border, it could create tensions of a hot war. Therefore, and Russia sees Eastern Europe as its area of influence. Ukraine was the earlier client state of Russia, if you can call. So therefore, if more and more countries become part of NATO, that means the influence of Russia is going to reduce even further. Okay. Then we move on. The making of Republic of Barbados. This is a very good news in terms of success of former colonial countries. See, India was also a colony of the British. But when we got independence, we decided we will be a republic. That is, the head of the state will be a Indian, and we will cut all ties with our colonial past. We will start afresh. Okay, but however, certain countries have remained so in their colonial past. They have retained the title of Commonwealth. That is, the head of the state is still the Queen of England. Okay, for example, Australia. And until this week, it was also Barbados. But Barbados, which is also a Caribbean island country, and until now known as Little England, when it was under the control of the British, has now made a constitutional change. That is, the head of the state of Barbados state will be elected. Okay, this is part of posturing to completely erase your colonial past. That how did you become subservient or you became a colony of the British? Because they were better. Alright, that was the colonial theory. How can we rule you? Because we are more sophisticated, we are better than you, right? But that idea we rejected in 1947, but certain countries retained it, okay? For leverage from the British, they wanted to continue good ties with them. But now more and more countries are now understanding that, see, they don't need Britain and its patronage to actually be considered worthwhile. Alright, so therefore Barbados, primarily of African American origins or African community origins, they have now decided that, see, enough is enough, and now is the time to break free from the shackle. So they have now become the most recent republic. That is, the head of the state is elected. Okay, the Black Lives Movement in America and Europe has also created a lot of awareness in the black community against systematic racism, and that this is part of retaining the racist identity. So they have broken free from it. Then we move on, why history matters so much. This article is about political posturing, what is the importance of history, how it creates our perspective about society, what is the importance of syllabus, because there is always talk of adding new things in the syllabus, retaining things, glorifying certain things, glorifying certain others. Okay, so that is the key part of this. Nothing of real note for us. So on that note, we conclude the newspaper analysis. The notes related to all my lectures are available on the link, that is bit.ly/KUSHGK notes, and all the updates about my current affair classes and those doubts that you have, all of you can reach out to me on the Telegram channel, that is Kushagra Goyal, the legal game _Unacademy. The link to the Telegram channel is also in the description box. So make sure if you have any doubts related to them, you ask them in there. Okay. Now on that note, a good reminder for all of you that please make sure that you appear and enroll yourself for the special class that is on 7 p.m. tomorrow. Don't miss it. Use the code KUSHGK to access this class for free. Okay, it will be a marathon quiz on all polity related questions. Okay, constitutional GK, legal GK, new laws, constitution say related other historical provisions, everything related to polity that is asked in CLAT and ALET. We will discuss all of them tomorrow. So make sure that you participate in them. Participate in this quiz tomorrow. Don't miss it. Okay, I hope to see you all there. Now, what is special classes? Special classes of Unacademy are those where you can interact with your educator verbally. You can ask them questions just like you can ask in a physical class, and the notes related to those classes are freely available. That is, you don't have to actually go anywhere to any other Google Drive link to retain or attain those notes. Okay. So please make sure you avail of this facility, and if you are looking for dedicated preparation for your CLAT examination, make sure that you subscribe to Unacademy and its subscribed batches. You can take a 6-month subscription based on your requirement. Now the question is, sir, will in 6 months the entire syllabus be covered? Yes, In different batches, those syllabus will be covered. Plus, you will get access to these free tests, which are known as weekly T20 and Unacademy Law Aptitude test. The batch for 6 months for CLAT 2022 aspirants is Ignite, and those for CLAT 2023 is a 1-year batch that is known as NLU Stalwarts. On that note, thank you so much, all of you. Take care of yourselves. All the doubts related to the newspaper today, make sure you put it in the comment section and I will respond to them tomorrow. On that note, take care. Thank you so much. If you like this newspaper analysis, please give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe to it and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss the updates. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow.